Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's literally my favorite part of the show. I love the intro. It's so important to me to get the intro done right. It's like when my intro starts off bad, it's like a harbinger of doom. Like I know the rest of the show is gonna be lackluster, man. I love hearing the it's like, really gets me hyped. Hope you guys had a great day today, man. I really appreciate everybody who's joining me at this last minute live. We're definitely going to go over a few things. We're going to go over that new DNA report that came out. I know some of you guys may have seen it already, but you didn't see it with Strategic, so we can definitely give it the Strategic Eyes little sprinkle twirl and cherry on top. And then we're also going to look at some of these pictures that I was supposed to actually review these pictures and give you my opinion on these pictures when we got the other DNA report, the one that happened in March of 2024, but it was released like maybe 2-3 months ago. But I forgot to. There was so much going on with those DNA reports when we found out that DNA was found on the chest. Yeah, that was huge, man. Kind of like threw me for a loop. It was just very sad. Just knowing that there was evidence that this man was in places he wasn't supposed to be. So I forgot to do it, but I'm going to do it today because it still is very relevant because I have a really interesting theory. It's not a groundbreaking, remarkable theory, but it's a theory nonetheless as to some of these pictures we're going to go through. So I want to once again thank you guys for joining me. This was an impromptu live. I know we've been doing lives pretty late this week. It's because I've been working the days. And I come and I work and I'm off in the nights, so I'm coming here in the nighttime after doing overtime and all the other things. Because this has been a terrible week, ladies and gentlemen. But I still make time to talk to you guys because you guys mean the world to me. And I never ever take it for granted that just as much as I make time to talk to you, you guys make time to listen to me. And that's huge, man. So thank you so much for supporting me on this dream, on this goal, on this endeavor to give a voice to the voiceless. So we're going to jump right into this because it's not going to be a long show, guys. I was sitting there like, Aki, I don't even think I have a lot to talk about. There's important stuff for us to go through, but I don't think we have enough to do an hour, 2-hour show. And then I thought to myself, I said, wow, man, like that's the standard for you? Like you always have to do an hour, 2-hour show? Like, how about we just give them a good 20-30 minutes and we say everything we need to say and we call it a day? So that's going to be the goal today so I can actually get some sleep. All right. So before we jump into this, we got to do our little spiel. We are going to be going over some DNA evidence, an official DNA lab report from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, their lab. And the topic is heavy. It really is. But we're going to be doing it from an educational perspective. So this is for the YouTube gods, guys. It's for the YouTube gods. Anybody who's new to the channel, we have to say this in order for our channel to be monetized. I don't know why I've got this special provision and nobody else does, but hey, when we don't say it, we get the yellow sign. When we say it, we get the green sign. So anyway, we are going to be reacting to and evaluating this document from an educational perspective. Now, what gives me the qualifications to look at a DNA report? Let me bring it up here so we can see it behind me. Well, it's because I'm an active duty detective. I'm a sex crimes detective, and I look at these reports all day long. At least once or twice a week inside of our special case tracking software. When the report is done in a lab, there's synergy between the two different agencies, and the report automatically pops up into my software. So there's no way I won't know because the case, if I have the case open pending DNA reports, sometimes we have to do that if, we need a little bit more evidence and we want to see if the DNA comes back before we decide if we have probable cause or not. The case will automatically reopen. It'd be right in my face. Boom. And there's an alert. You have DNA. If the case is already open and it's on my queue and I'm actively working that case, once again, big message. Boom. You got DNA, right? So I review these forms and these documents every day. I don't call a lab technician or a scientist to review it for me. I've been trained and I have the experience to know exactly what's being said on these documents, okay? So that is what gives us the ability to review this from an educational perspective. 18 and a half years of law enforcement experience, around 15 years of investigative experience on all different levels of government, and also have a bachelor's degree in social work and criminal justice. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Let's jump right into this. But I just explained a lot, guys, so I'm just wondering.
Does that make sense?
You sure? Because if you want me to like restate anything or explain anything, I surely can, because I surely wanted to.
Does that make sense?
I'm over here clowning. Anybody who's a real fan of the show, you know exactly what I'm doing. If I'm new here, you're like, what is this guy talking about? Stick around a little bit, you'll figure it out. All right, so let me just make some adjustments in the screen behind me, or rather, let me make some adjustments of me on the screen so I'm not in the way, and we'll go ahead and start reading this out. Like I told you guys, unfortunately, I am very tired. So I can't stay here for a long time, but I'm gonna stay here long enough to get the job done. How's that sound? I think that sounds good. That's fair. It's fair exchange. All right, boom. Let's do it. All right. I'm gonna read all the way through this. It's not a long document, so I think it's important just to put it all out there on the YouTube record. Okay. So laboratory report, April 14th, 2025. They just got this report done, and I got to say that they probably expedited it because this is a very high profile case, but this turnaround time is bananas. Okay. I've only seen a turnaround time on a report like this or a test like this if it's like high profile. So maybe they got the same type of turnaround we have, which is like months. Yeah, months. But of course, when it's high profile enough and it gets the right sign offs on it to like expedite, it could be done within a week. You know, any lab across the country can turn around DNA results on any piece of evidence that they have within a week, but it usually takes months because of the sheer volume of lab submissions that these state labs get and the lack of funding that they have across the country. Even in big cities, these labs are not funded as much as they should be, and they don't have enough staff to kind of like get through this evidence in a reasonable amount of time. Before I continue, friend of Crows with a $10 super chat says, I've been replaying, crewing it for a bit, so I'm happy to be catching it live tonight. Here's a cup of fancy coffee on me, Strategic. Thanks for all you do. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that coffee. And believe me, after this week, that coffee is appreciated. I'm not telling y'all my personal business. Just know, oh boy, this week was terrible, man. Terrible. So I needed that coffee. It is well received. God bless you. All right, let's get back into it. Make sure you hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button. All right. So interim chief, we don't need to read who's the chief there, okay? Subpoena pertains to this case should refer to FDLE number, attention Mark Morris. That is the lead detective. So as we've seen, all of these documents are going back to Mark Morris because he's the guy. He's the lead detective, okay? Let's keep going. The offense is unaliving investigation, X assault, Osceola County, February 25th, 2024. Can you believe it was just a year ago that we started following this case? Wow. I remember watching this maybe like February 27th, 28th, or 29th when it just hit the news, and I'm looking at Jen and Stephan getting interviewed before they were suspects, whatever the time frame is, and I'm like, these people are sus. Like my little son says, that's a sussy word, Dad. I still don't know what a sussy word means, but they sus. I was like, these people are suspect. But anyway, let's keep going. Reference. This report references evidence submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement on April 24th, 2024 by Rita Tavares. This report contains conclusions, opinions, and or interpretations made by the author. Okay, let's break it down now. This is a reference. All right, we already did that. Evidence. So these items are going to be 16, 17, 18, and 19. Of course, there's the exhibits. That's the unique number that they gave it for court purposes, or it could be for court purposes, or it could just be for the lab's purposes. And the description, so 16, and the 16, 17, 18, 19 is the lab numbers. The agency exhibit number, it could be so many different things, and different states do different things, whatever. So 16 is white flat sheet from closet in bedroom number 4. 17 is white flat sheet from bed in bedroom number 4. 18 is white pillowcase from bed in bedroom number 4. So really probative ones would be so far 17 and 18. Let's see what 19 is. 19 is white fitted sheet from bedroom number 4. from bed in bedroom number 4. So 17, 18, 19 are the most probative right off the gate. Is it possible the guy could have abused the victim, whatever victim? You doesn't have to just be Maddie. You could just be any scene that you come across. Is it possible the abuse could have happened on the bed and then the suspect takes the sheet off the bed and puts it in a closet and then puts new sheets on, and then you don't test one in the closet and you end up missing evidence? It's possible, but what bad guy is going to take the sheets off, fold it up neatly, and then put it in a closet? You can just take it with him and then dispose of it that way. But anyway, so most likely what would be probative would be 17, 18, 19. The problem is, before we even read what the results are, is that we know Stephan Sterns did laundry. So if he's going to wash his clothes, he might just wash sheets too, right? And if he washes his sheets, a lot of DNA is going to be removed from it. It takes multiple washes to get almost all the DNA out, especially you got to use stuff like Clorox and stuff like that. But especially if you're washing wipes. See, that's fatiguing me. Whites. If you're washing whites, you're most likely gonna put bleach in there. That's gonna destroy a lot of evidence. So I'm not surprised that we're gonna find out what happens next. So possible hairs were observed on items 17, 18, and 19, but were not removed or examined. So there are hairs there, but how probative is that? That's probably why they didn't remove them and even attend an STR or some type of examination, because it's like, okay, we know that Stephan slept on the bed. We know that Maddie slept on the bed. By all accounts, Stephan had permission to sleep on the bed with Maddie, and Maddie had permission to sleep in the bed with Stephan. So that's not really probative. That doesn't tell us that there was essaying happening. It doesn't tell us that there was unaliving happening. These two people belonged in that bed according to the mother. Morally, they didn't belong in that bed. Logically, they didn't belong in that bed. Good parenting would tell you don't put them in that bed together. But nonetheless, they were in the bed and everybody knew they were in the bed. Probably even the roommates knew that they were in the bed, because it doesn't make sense to me that Stephan Sterns is sleeping in that bed with Maddie as often as we think that they were sleeping in the same bed, and the roommates would not know. That doesn't make sense to me, right? What I think was happening in the house was kind of like, we need a place to live. We don't make enough money to afford somewhere else. Most of those ladies that were staying there were friends of the family, so they were staying there at a significant discount compared to what they would pay if they were paying for a room in that area. It's a nice, decent townhouse in a nice, decent area with a security guard at the front. They feel safe, and they probably were just willfully ignorant. What were they, ladies and gentlemen? Willfully ignorant. Oh, yeah. They didn't see no evil. They didn't hear no evil. And they certainly, well, some of them didn't even know how to spell evil. Now, she's okay. She needed a translator. She didn't speak not one word of English. But anyway, it's a different story. So, possible hair was observed on items 17, 18, and 19, but were not removed or examined using a color change test. And this is just a test that's used to determine the presence of certain types of DNA. And I actually was trained on this, and I used to use this inside of when I did a crime scene in corrections. When we came on sexual assault, how should I say, scenes. It's late. My brain is all twisted. When it came on sexual assault scenes, there were many, many, many times that I will use this Searchy brand. I think Searchy is the only one that makes it. There might be other brands. I haven't done that in a very long time, because I haven't been in corrections in very, very long. Been in policing since then. So it's been a while. And I don't do crime scene anymore. You guys know I'm a sex crime detective. But when I was certified in crime scene and I did do crime scenes, I would use the Searchy presumptive test for semen. And I think that's what they use on this, because it's a color change test. You put the liquid on the semen, and if it changes the color, I forgot what color, I don't know if it was purple or blue or something, that would mean that the antigens that you find inside of seminal fluid was actually found on that sample. So I think they use probably the same exact brand and technology or something similar to it. And so they said using a color change test, items 17, 18, and 19 failed to give chemical indications for the presence of seminal fluid. Okay. So that means that they did not find any seminal fluid on that sheet, and they therefore did not test for it. Now, what you guys are going to understand is that when you have like something like a sheet or a blanket that's very large, a lab is not going to test the entire thing. You have to process it. So apparently here, they sent it straight to the lab, and the lab processed it. Usually they want the crime scene technician to process it on the scene or in their laboratory, take out the probative parts of the evidence, and then send that to the lab. I think because this is a high profile case and they just sent this over to the lab just a few days ago, really, I think that the lab took care of it for them because it's a high profile case. So what you would do is you would use alternative lighting on that sheet. You know, the black light and all that, you know, they use all these fancy terms, but really it's normal stuff that we all know. So it's called alternative lighting, right? But really just the black light. They have a really high type milliwave, whatever you call it. I'm not a scientist, but anyway, it's a really good, very strong commercial grade black light that's specifically manufactured for you to get serology. And what is serology? Spit, blood, semen, right? That's serology, all the liquids of the body, right? So they would then put it in this controlled environment, in this dark room. They would switch on this industrial black light. They would look for these anomalies, these places that glow and fluoresce. That's the technical terms that they say. I'm remembering my crime scene days right now, guys. I'm going back in memory lane. So travel with me. Right now, I just watch the guys and I point out like, yo, go that over there look good. Go check over there too. And yo, take that from me. I think that's probative. You know, they do what you tell them to do. Like, all right, get that from me. But anyway, I'm going back memory lane. So if it fluoresces, and as you get your experience, you kind of know how seminal fluid fluoresces versus, you know, saliva or whatever, or even vaginal secretions, etc., or whatever. Bottom line is that when it fluoresces, you're now going to you're going to take pictures. You're going to use your filtered lenses on top of your DSLR so you can actually capture the fluoresced serology on the camera. You're going to take pictures. You're going to do your outers, your inners, and your perimeters and all that good stuff. You're going to document that site, and you're going to document the crap out of that site for a reason. The reason why you're going to document the crap out of it is because you're going to cut it. At least that's what you're supposed to do. You're going to cut that baby up, and you're now damaging that evidence. So you need to be able to show how the evidence looked in its entirety. And then now you cut it up and you take the squares out that have the areas that you're interested in, and then you send that to the lab. Or you can also do what they did. Once you find those areas that you're interested in, before you even cut it up, you can then do the presumptive test for seminal fluid on it. And then if it doesn't fluoresce in the color that you expect it to be from according to whatever test you're using, then it's not probative, because these tests are very sensitive. They're more likely to give you a false positive than a negative. So it's more likely that you'll test it, it'll tell you, oh yeah, there's a presence, and then you send it to the lab and they're like, there is no presence, or it's not enough for us to test for it, than for it to say no and there is some. So when these tests say no, it's most likely it's a no, and they tested it and it said no. So therefore there was nothing probative further in these pieces of evidence. All right, so let's keep going. So the SCR DNA analysis was not performed on items 17, 18, and 19. It did not, because they didn't perform it because they didn't find anything that they could use, wasn't probative. And it remarks is item 16 was not examined, and the reason why they examined it, I didn't even read this document. But I told you, like, you're not going to test the closet, right? Because who's gonna do the dirt on the bed and then take the sheet off of it, fold it up nice so it looks like it just came out the dryer, and then put it in the closet? Nobody's going to do that. Now, some criminal who's watching this right now is going to be like, oh, I just learned something strategic. I'm going to go ahead and do that the next time I do a crime. Well, guess what? I'm going to go test the one in the closet just for you. So don't be the perp that I'm investigating. But anyway, so they obviously didn't test 16 because 16 was in the closet, and they didn't feel like it was probative, even though it might actually have tons of fluid on it, because they won't know. because I didn't test it. All right, let's keep going. Please contact CLAS Ashley. I'm not going to read her full name, even though it's out there in the record, for case consultation if additional evidence submissions are needed. So that's their lab liaison right there, who, you don't talk to the lab because the lab is busy and they hate talking to cops because we ask them questions, the question that they hate them. We don't ask them questions. We ask them the question they hate the most. Whoever says the answer to the question that they hate the most in the chat will get a prize. I just actually mailed out just a little while ago PR's prize. So she got something really special. So I'm not going to gas it. It's nice. I gave it, a few things too. And it wasn't just one thing. So if you're watching PR, make sure that you let me know via email when you receive it. All right. It's on its way down to where you at in good old Florida. All right. So whoever can tell me before this live is over, whoever can tell me what is a question that the lab people hate that law enforcement asked them. Oh, shoot. Sunny days dawn. You got it. If you want your prize, you got to email me. The answer is, do you have results yet? That is the question. That is the question. It's too late. Sonny already got it. Just make sure before Sonny jump for joy. Let me make sure that nobody got it before you, Sonny. And if they did, tough luck. All right. Make sure. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Yes, it's Friday. Okay. Okay. So it looks like Sonny did win it. Yes. Sonny, when we were about the judge's decision, definitely test it now. All right. Do you have the results? Sonny, you won. So Sunny Days with Dawn, you won. Email me so that I can talk to you and facilitate finding a prize for you and send it to you. Something cool, and send it to you faster than I sent PR her prize. She was waiting like 2 months for us. I just be forgetting. I'm sorry. I'm so busy. I'll be forgetting, man. Listen, I go to work and I'm sitting there on my computer, all right, I got to update this. And then the phone rang and it's like, yo, somebody's in the hospital. Do I need to say any more? If I tell you what they say, what they telling me about the case, then it will be demonetized. That's my everyday. So it's hard to kind of remember things, but I'm going to remember yours because I'm really pissed off of what I did to PR, but she waited long and she got something nice. So good for her. But email me and we'll definitely get you something cool. All right. So that is why we have liaisons and we can't just talk to the lab people, because when we talk to them, we say, yo, what's taking my test so long? Especially us detectives, especially when we work in special. We be like, yo, what's going on? Because, all right, why are we asking this one? You're not getting a prize because this is too easy. But why are we asking the lab, why is the test taking so long? Answer that question. Why are we, as detectives, bothering the lab personnel, asking them why is the test taking so long? Let's see if some beagle in there, legal beagle, some genie ass in there, that chat tells me why. No, that's not it, Chantel. Not because we want to apprehend the darn suspect, but that's a good try though. We do want to do that, but there's another force that's pushing us, and you don't want to screw with that force. No. Somebody said the family. Nope, not because the bosses is asking you. Nope, bosses don't ask you nothing. You do your job. You know what I mean? You're a detective. They expect you to know what you're doing. When the bosses is asking you, hey, what's going on here? That means you got a problem. Somebody said the DA. No, the DA ain't get the case yet. The DA get the case when we done with it. You guys get tricked with these high profile cases that you see the DA involved so early. That's because it's on the news. Remember, DAs are politicians. It's on the news. They want to be involved early. Maddie is high profile. They want to get involved early. Most cases, the DA doesn't get it till we're done with it. I'm going to tell you why. Susan got it slightly. She says, for the victim. But it is for the victim, but it's because the victim is pushing us. The victim is like, what's taking so long? I want my justice. What's happening here? Well, why? It's been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. It's been a month. It's been 2 months. What's taking so long? And we're like, yo, I'm sorry. It takes a long time for these results. We're backed up. It takes a long time for these results to come in. So now we're like, yo, it's been a while now. What's taking so long for these results? Like, talk to me, So that's that mountain with the dung falling down. You know what I'm saying? The poop rolled downhill. So the victim is at the top of that peak right there, and they pooping is rolling down the hill, and it's like, oh, it's all on me. So I got to push it down to that lab report, that lab technician, like, what's taking so long? So because of that, we can't talk to them. I mean, it's no rule. I've talked to them before, but they want to talk to you when they want to talk to you, when they got a question for you. If they don't have a question for you, you have to go through your liaison. And the liaison is the buffer between you and the lab technicians. One time, by accident, they gave me a lab technician's phone number, and I could, because I was waiting like 6 months for some results on a big case. It's a massive case. Can't talk about it because it's still active. It's massive. You got the trafficking and everything involved in it. And they by accident gave me my lab technician's number, the one who's doing my evidence, and I had him out like, yo, what's taking so long? She's like, huh? Who gave you this number? I was like, don't worry about it. I'm a detective. I'm asking you a question. What's taking so long? And she's like, I'm actually done. I'm done. I gave it to my supervisor for them to do supervisor review. Because what happens is the lab technicians finish their testing, and then they have to pass it up to their supervisors, who then review their processes and their findings and make sure that everything was done correctly in the way that it's supposed to be done. And then after that supervisory review, if it's approved, then it then gets sent over to me for my review. And then if, depending on what the results are, if the case is going to be prosecuted or not, I will then make my arrest and then present it to the district attorney. Most of the time, if it's like a serious felony, we'll bring the DA in a little bit early. If it's not, then, we'll go ahead and do what we do. So anyway, Aki's complaining, like, I think you wrong on this one. She's like, rambling. I'm teaching you guys how the process works. This is very valuable to the audience because they don't know how this works. I'm not rambling. I'm literally teaching them how the process works. Some people will find this very probative. What do you guys think, chat? Aki always cracking that whip on me. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, this is like inside baseball. Like, you guys are not gonna know this stuff. Like, you're not gonna find this out on Court TV. Even though I'm not talking crap about them. I love Court TV. Who doesn't? They never go this deep into that stuff. Like, I'm literally telling you guys how this stuff works. All right, so this is Sterns. Here we go. I am specifically interested not in his back, but I'm interested in or his very hairy. I can't talk about it. I get in trouble if I talk about this on YouTube. I'm just saying, it looks like they're shaved. It doesn't look like that's natural. It looks like he kind of like shaves them. I'm not shaming. I'm not talking about the man's physique. I'm not doing that. That's not my style anyway. I'm just saying, specifically, it looks like these things are shaved. But anyway, let's keep going. All right, so these are the things, right? Do we really believe that? I mean, it's possible. Do we really believe that the car fell on his hand? Do we really believe that? I don't know. I mean, we know he got a flat tire. I mean, listen, we're covering this case, and we're taking a lot of things at face value, guys. I mean, think about it. We're taking a lot of things at face value. We got to ask ourselves a question like, what's the evidence that this car fell on his hand? We know that the tire blew out. We know that because there's a witness that saw him changing the tire on the side of the road. But do we really, like, he said that his finger got crushed, his hand got crushed. Like, this is a 6,000 pound car. I mean, that's an average. Like, we'll say, all right, let's say 3,500, 4,000 pounds is the average of a sedan, right? You get it to like 6,000 when you have these big trucks and stuff, pickups and SUVs. It fell on his hand. How did it fall on his hand? And why is his hand not broken? Why all we see here is this little scratch here? Or would this scratch be more indicative of a defensive wound from somebody else defending themselves against him? A scratch from a fingernail of a person, or bite. I don't believe anything that these folks say. I don't believe when Jen Soto talks. I don't believe when Stephan Sterns speaks, absence of evidence. So I think there's a good possibility that we've all been complacent in just accepting his story, that janky tire iron, whatever, squashed his fingers with no evidence of it. Tell me that one of the witnesses that reported seeing him on the side of the road reported his hand stuck in the car and him screaming and jumping in pain and trauma. Okay, now we talking. There's something to back that up. But all we have so far is Stephan Sterns' word. And to me, it's just not enough. That's all we got. Where's the black and the blue? You know, you guys know I'm handy. I'm always talking about fixing things and stuff like that. I'm constantly getting my hand injured, caught in stuff. God forbid. I'm black, and you can still see the black and blue on me from these very similar type of injuries this guy is describing. We don't see that. We see a little nick on him. He's a Caucasian male. It's easy for him to get discolored through trauma of his skin. Where's the trauma other than this tiny little cut? Where's the black and blue? Where's it? That's right where his nail is at. You guys know how delicate that base of that nail is. You get that thing squashed too hard, turns black and blue, and then the fingernail falls off. Surely all of us have experienced that before. Got your hand caught into a door jamb or something like that. Sucks. Where's the trauma to his nail? I don't believe him. I think, methinks, he's lying. Methinks doth protest too much. I think that might be defensive wounds. Is it not possible? I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying it's possible that it is. It's possible. Because we're getting our information from a man that does not know how to tell the truth. He doesn't know how to tell the truth. He doesn't know how to be honest. We listen to his conversations. We listen to him talk to his parents. He's never told them the truth. He can't even tell them the truth about reading glasses. Send me money for reading glasses. I think it costs like $40,000, $50,000. No, maybe $5,000, $6,000. I don't know. Then the next day, hey, did you get your reading glasses after the money was already sent? Oh, yeah. You know, the funny thing happened. I woke up one day and I could see again. That's how it works? Okay. Okay. Fair enough. That's how it works. I don't believe him. I really don't. When we see it from this angle, we see that these wounds kind of wrap around. I could definitely see, because you see here, I'm pointing like you guys can see me pointing, but you can see my my cursor. Rounded, then it comes around and you see this trauma here, trauma here, trauma here. You know what that looks like to me? That's what that looks like to me. That looks like it could also be trying to pry somebody's hand. The best way to pry a hand is from the thumb area. Naturally, subconsciously, we will usually go to the thumb area to pry hands off because it's actually, that's where the strength comes from. You pry the thumb off, the hand will follow. Maybe I'm thinking too deep into that. I'm pretty sure Maddie at 13 years old wouldn't really know that, but people kind of like go for that meaty part where they could really get a good grasp. It could be that too. And the nails are plunging into the hand as she's prying off. I wasn't there. And I don't purport to know what happened that night. As a detective, I'd like to know because I'd love to solve the case. Some people don't want to know. I get that. I respect that. It might be too traumatizing. But I don't believe what he's saying. I don't believe that happened because of the janky tire iron. That pesky tire iron, like red herring. Blame it all on red herring and Scooby-Doo. I think, understand that when we get the discovery, when we get the FOIA request just show you the evidence, the bare minimum of the evidence. It doesn't tell you their theories. We don't know what the prosecutor's theory is about these wounds. We don't know what their evidence led them to conclude about these wounds. You have to find that out in court. They're not going to release that with a FOIA request. I think that that's a working theory. This is a working theory. I think that this is a working theory, that whole story about the janky tire iron, 6,000-pound car falling on his hand and only giving him a couple of superficial scratches that are in a circular pattern. I think that's fugazi, as we say in New York. I think in all actuality, these might be Maddie's defensive wounds. I try my best to be fair to everybody I can be fair to in this whole tragedy of Madeline Soto. And I'm going to wrap it up soon. What do I mean by that? There's no evidence that Maddie's grandmother and grandfather was anything but amazing to her. A lot of people have their own opinions on that. I don't know these people, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care about these people. I'm just going off of the facts. Maddie's grandmother loved her, loved spending time with her. Maddie's grandfather gave her a place to live. We don't even know if Jen was even paying rent. Some people's like, why couldn't they let her sleep in bedroom number 4? They blame the grandfather when the dude is in Puerto Rico 90% of the time. You know who was in that house with Maddie? Jen Soto. So why are we blaming grandpa that Maddie wasn't sleeping in bedroom number 4 when he's not even living there? He's living in Puerto Rico. So I'm trying to be fair to these folks. You'll never hear me say that they were bad grandparents, because there's no evidence they were bad grandparents. You've heard me call Tyler Wallace a deadbeat. Why? Because he is. How did I come to that conclusion? Once again, I don't know this guy. He lost his daughter. I would love nothing more than to just be fair with him. Nothing more than to be fair with him. But he told me and you in his interview that we listened to, and it's widely available on the internet, that he just did not prioritize seeing her. And he just wanted to keep the peace, basically. That's me summarizing. I say all of this to say this last statement. I don't think that the roommates are to blame for anything. At the end of the day, I think as humankind, we do have a responsibility to each other to be vigilant and to protect each other. But at the end of the day, that's a perfect world. In the real world, Jen Soto had the responsibility to protect her daughter, and Stephan Sterns had the responsibility not to be a pedophile. What am I working up to? The show is almost over, so I'm sorry that I'm long-winded at times. What am I working up to? I honestly believe, based off of what I've heard so far in this case and read and listened to these interviews and all that stuff, that if there were noises, struggle noises coming from bedroom number 4 on that fateful night when this beautiful soul left us, I don't think that anybody would have intervened. I think the people that lived in that house was really good at minding their own business. I think it's not the first or the last time that they heard strange noises coming from bedroom number 4 or probably even other places in that house. I think that there was a time, as stated in the interviews, where one or more of them tried to step up and speak to Jen and say, "Hey, Jen, what's really going on here? We that's documented. We know that happened. What's going on here? Like, that's not her dad. That's your boyfriend. He's kind of a little too close to to Maddie." I'm just watching what I say because of YouTube. And Jen said, yo, nothing to see here. Mind your business. Just paraphrasing. That's what I took from it. There's nothing to see here. Mind your business. And so that's what I think they did. This is all my opinion, guys. There's no real facts to back this up. It's just my opinion. All right. I'm just talking to you guys. The family. We're talking around the water cooler. We're talking around the fireplace. Jen said, there's nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. And these folks said, okay. And so now, what did they say? They heard drilling and tools and stuff like that. Knocking, noise, whatever, happening in a room next door where you know that there is a pubescent young woman there and a dude that you don't even trust to use your bathroom that you think is weird and awkward in the room with her. And people are just like, okay, Jen said, mind your business. I mind my business. I got my own problems. That's how people think. I got my own problems. I got my own kid right here to worry about. I can't worry about other people's kid. I got my own issues. I got relationship issues, money issues, life issues, job issues, cholesterol issues, whatever, you name it. I got issues. That's what people say. So what time do I have to worry about somebody else? That's what people say. I see them say it every single day. I've watched videos of people getting the worst things done to them on public streets. And people just walk past them and say, I got my own business to worry about. And don't help. I think that's what happened. That's what I think happened. I think she's in there struggling. I think she's fighting for her life. I think she's biting him. I think she's scratching him. He might be covering her mouth. But I think noises are being made. And I don't think that help is coming. And I think Jen is downstairs doing what she does best. She's not hearing nothing. She's in a medicated coma down there with Ativan and whatever she's taking. I don't even know if she's taking Ativan. I don't know. I can't remember all those drug names. I don't know. And the people upstairs are like, I got work in the morning time. Pillow on the head. I could be wrong. It's just my theory. It's just my theory. So, appreciate you guys for joining me. You guys are amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed the short video. And I hope you guys learned some things on kind of like how things happen behind the scene when you're dealing with the laboratory and stuff like that. And I hope that you guys have a great night. And, you know, put your mental health first, man. We monitor, me and Aki, we monitor the chats and stuff. And sometimes we see people a little too invested in this. Don't allow yourself to be re-traumatized, because we have a lot of victims, survivors, and warriors that watch this channel, and it's easy to get sucked into this vicariously. Please put your mental health first. It's okay to put this topic down for a couple of days. Believe me, I'm a YouTuber. I want your views. I want your support. But I want you to be mentally healthy more. I want you to be happy, and I want you to be safe more. So if this stuff gets a little too heavy, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. When you know that you've reached your limit and you take the time to take a step away and just regroup yourself, okay? You are not Maddie, and Maddie is not you. We're here to fight for justice for her. We're here to see her through. But take care of yourself along the way of that journey, all right? And I'm ready to just leave right now, but I just have to do one more thing and make sure that I've shouted out at anybody who's given me a super chat. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything, or members, and then we're gone. So we only have 2 that I didn't call out. We got Texas Truther 76 is now a patrol member. Thank you so much for showing that love, Texas Truther, and supporting the channel. And Mary Weissong says is a member for 2 months as a White Shield level. Wow, that's a high level. White Shield level. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much. She says, you need to get a Scooby-Doo red herring sound snip for the show. We'll work on that. And we definitely invite anybody who wants to snip one to just snip it and email it to us, and we'll use it. Just make sure it's a good quality so people really understand what's being said. But if you got a nice little Scooby-Doo, or you got any sound effect that you like, snip it and email it to me. Maybe I use it, maybe I don't, but it's better to send it than not to. So anyway, that being said, let's set that outro up. Okay, I see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Oh, shoot, hold on. U.S. Patriot Lady in the building. What's up, U.S. Patriot Lady? I love you. She's been with me for a very, 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 very long time. Definitely got to show you love. Love the support you give me over the years, U.S. Patriot Lady. Anyway, like I said, Strategic is out of here. Peace.